Hello, everyone. Since it is summer and many people travel this time of year, I thought I would address a question I'm often asked. If you do not have a green card or a valid visa, can you travel within the United States legally? My name is Raluca Hanea. I'm an attorney who provides immigration, estate planning, and family law services to my clients. And my marketing and office manager, Nina Clear, is here with me. We really appreciate all your likes, shares, and comments as they help other people to see our videos.
Can you talk a little more about what it means to be here without a legal status?
Yes. First, I want to make a few things clear. I want people to understand that our law firm is 100% for legal immigration. We are not in any way saying that people should be here who are undocumented or without a legal status. Second, I want people to know that the information we provide is very broad. And if you have questions about your particular situation, you should always consult with an attorney. Back to the question, what does it mean to be here without a legal status? That means that you either enter the U.S. illegally, so without a visa or green card, or you entered legally but then overstayed so that your visa is now expired.
And if you are here without a legal status and you are stopped by ICE, you could be arrested, deported, and banned from entering the United States for a certain time period.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so that sounds kind of scary. Should you be worried about traveling if you're here without a status?
Well, yes and no. What I mean is that worrying won't change your status. So I recommend that you do something to change it. However, should you be more worried when traveling than when staying at home? I think it depends on where you go.
And what do you mean by that?
It has gotten more complicated for people since this administration came in office.
Why is that?
Because before this administration came into office, the focus was on finding and deporting people who were here illegally and who were a danger to those in the United States. Now, there is this zero tolerance policy, and the focus is on finding and deporting those without a legal status, regardless of their possible danger to anyone in the United States, even though they say this is not true. But back to it, depending on where you go. We know that people are more likely to be questioned about their legal status if they are within 100 miles of a physical border of the United States. Does that mean you won't be stopped or questioned? No. In fact, ICE recently announced that they will be training local police and deputizing them so that the local police can stop and detain people with federal immigration warrants and hold them up for 2 days. This is called the Warrant Officer Service Program.
So can those deputized people ask your legal status?
Anyone can ask you anything they want. You just don't need to answer them, as we talked about it in another video. In United States, everyone has the right to refuse to answer questions. You do not have to answer questions about where you're born, whether you are a U.S. citizen, or how you entered the country. If you're not a U.S. citizen, and an immigration agent requests your immigration papers, then you must show them if you have them with you. If you are over 18, carry your immigration documents with you at all times. If you do not have immigration papers, say that you want to remain silent, but never lie or show fake documents.
So can you travel as a person in the United States without a legal status?
Yes, you can. However, if you are traveling by air, there was a new policy that went into effect on January the 22nd, 2018, and it's called the Real ID Act.
And how does that impact people without a legal status?
So even if it's already in place, it's essentially it says that it begins on October. No, it says that beginning October 1st, 2020, the identification required to fly must comply with the Real ID Act. So if you have a valid, unexpired foreign passport, you are okay to travel with that. If you do not, and you have a U.S. state ID or driver's license, it must comply with the act to be used to travel.
And how do you know if your state that you might have an ID from or a license from is compliant?
There is a site you can check, and we will post the link below. But it is only 5 states who are currently non-compliant but have been given an extension to become compliant. And they are Oregon, Oklahoma, Kentucky, New Jersey, and Maine.
And are people without a status able to get a state ID or a driver's license?
I know a few states that have allowed this in the past, but you would need to check with your state laws right now.
And we know you can't in Georgia.
In Georgia, for sure, you cannot.
Okay. You had someone with an interesting question yesterday that I think is applicable here. They wondered if you travel to the United States as a K-1 or fiancé visa holder, when does their status expire?
Their status expires 90 days after they arrive.
Okay, and presumably they get married within the 90 days, right?
Yes. They must get married within the 90 days or they will have no legal status.
Okay, and then do they get a status once they get married?
No, your status is still that of a K-1 visa holder, and it will expire on the 91st day after you enter the U.S.
So what do they do to maintain a legal status?
We talked about this in another video, but they would need to apply for an adjustment of status immediately after they get married.
And why does it need to be immediate?
Because if you are here on a K-1 visa, you only have a 90-day visa. Even if they send in an adjustment of status application, they do not have a legal status until their application is received by the USCIS and they get a letter back showing that USCIS has received it with a receipt date.
So once they get the receipt letter, then they are here with a legal status.
It's actually a gray area, but if they were stopped by ICE and they had a receipt letter, they would not be here without a legal status.
When does it stop being a gray area?
Once they have received their employment authorization.
Okay, and that happens before they get their green card, right?
Right.
So it seems like a problem could arise if you were here on a fiancé visa and you didn't apply for an adjustment of status until after your K-1 visa expired.
Right. We know that USCIS is slow, so even if you send in your application as soon as you get married, it could take a few weeks for them to receive it and give you a receipt date. And the big issue is if you're here without a legal status for too long, that may impact your ability to get your green card and your citizenship.
And how long is too long?
Since our office supports legal immigration, we say that 1 day here without a legal status is too long. But what USCIS will look at is how long your unlawful presence was. Any unlawful presence over 6 months is going to require you to file and obtain a waiver, if you qualify for it, in order not to be banned from the U.S. for 3 or 10 years or permanently when you leave. You can travel without a legal status in the United States, but we recommend to everyone that they do what they can to obtain a legal status as soon as possible. Thank you to everyone who watched our video, as well as for all your likes, shares, and comments. Please reach out to us with questions about your immigration case. We're always here to help. See you soon. Have a great weekend.